Hello, and welcome back to Biohacking with Brittany. I am so excited that you are all listening here today. If you are new here, hi, welcome. This is a place where I talk about health and wellness and biohacking and peptides and longevity. And the show has actually been around for quite a while now. I started it in 2019 and it's ebbed and flowed. And today I'm actually starting a brand new series called Her Stack within the podcast. So much goodness to get into today. But if you are new listening, a quick little rundown. I am a holistic nutritionist, biohacker, longevity medicine fellow, and also studying peptide therapy now as well. I have been on a biohacking and health journey for over 15 years. I have a community, a podcast, social media audience. I work with clients one-on-one. I have a program. I have a planner. I have so many different things. And so this new series is really an extension of all of that I wanted to be able to put together and provide in a free format, long form format for all of my listeners. So, welcome. Please subscribe, listen, do all those good things. So, this new series, Her Stack, is really focused, first of all, on women's health. And secondly, is very holistic in nature. I wanted to create something where we could take one goal that is so common between women and break it down into how to really support that goal across 4 different pillars. And I didn't just want to make it about peptides or just make it about nutrition because really everything kind of works better together. This is a very 360 approach. And this is the approach I take with myself, with my family, with my clients, everyone that I work with. So the 4 pillars are nutrition, lifestyle, and biohacking, supplements, and peptides. And so we're going to go through all of those in every single episode that comes out. And some episodes are going to be perfect for you, and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm struggling with this. Some episodes are maybe something that you don't relate to, or you haven't, or you've healed already, and that's okay. There's different things for different people. These are goal based. And I want to be able to give you as much value as possible in this amount of time. So and especially now with working with so many women and doing these master classes and group coaching and all these different things, I really am seeing the same issues come up again and again and again, the same health complaints. And the number one health complaint I get from women, actually regardless of age, is energy. And so I thought, kicking off this brand new series, we are going to tackle energy today. Energy, fatigue, how to get you feeling like, wow, I'm waking up with a pep in my step. I'm ready to go. I'm avoiding the 2 p.m. crash. I'm managing a business and my kids and I feel great. How do we get you to that level? And so there's so much we're going to talk about today. So not only am I going to walk you through nutrition, lifestyle, and biohacking, supplements, and peptides, I'm actually also going to walk you through at the end how to start. So you're going to hear so much information and you're going to maybe know a lot of it, maybe some of it. And at the end, I really want to take you week through week how to kind of put it all together so that you can actually start making progress. Sometimes when we listen to podcast episodes like this, there's so much value and so much information, and we almost freeze because we don't know what to do with it. And I want to avoid that with you today. So, quick disclaimer, this is not medical advice, of course. That is really kept for my clients, especially my one-on-one clients, or even inside my gated community, the LongHer Life. This is a very safe space. This is for research and information purposes only, and take everything with a grain of salt as you will. It's your body, your decision, your life, your choices. I'm just here to provide value and help you make more informed decisions. All right. So, oh my gosh, let's just dive right into energy. My goodness. Why energy and what is actually broken down here? So, I'm going to talk about the patterns I kind of see. So I see a lot of tired upon waking, tired but wired feelings, crashing in the middle of the afternoon, sometimes getting a second wind at 9 p.m., or waking up at 3 a.m. and having like racing thoughts and not being able to go back to sleep. I see a lot of caffeine dependency that has crept up year after year. Maybe you started with 1 or 2 cups and now you're at 3 or 4 cups, and you couldn't imagine a day without caffeine. We see labs that are normal, but you don't feel normal. That I see a lot actually, regardless of the health complaint or the goal that we're focusing on. I see a lot of that. And so there's different things that are actually happening here when we talk about energy. And the first one I want to talk about is mitochondria. There are so many mitochondria in our body. Like, that is such an understatement. The brain, the heart, and the ovaries have the most mitochondria throughout the body. They are the most mitochondrial dense. The ovaries actually have 100,000 mitochondria per cell. Like, just think about that for a second. That's the ovaries, right? So the heart has more and the brain has more. So when we have these mitochondria and they're producing energy, they produce the ATP, right? The ATP, which is the molecule that powers literally everything in our bodies, everything, right? If they are sluggish, we are sluggish. And there's so many of them. And even though there's thousands and millions of them, it doesn't mean that they're actually functioning in the way that they should. So mitochondrial support is something we are going to tackle. The second thing is their circadian rhythm is broken. Like I said, this appears in a lot of different ways. So we see a lot of 3 a.m. wake ups. I can't get back to sleep. I have racing thoughts. I'm going through my to-do list for the next day. Especially moms. Especially, I'm a mom. Okay. I get it. Especially moms. You're waking up and you're like, okay, I have to do this and this and this. And then I got to make this phone call and this email. And it's like, how? How are you going to get all of that done? Or we see the struggle to fall asleep at night as well. Your circadian rhythm, I think so many people understand this now, but is this internal clock that really decides when cortisol rises and lowers. And cortisol, the stress hormone, which is what we typically call it, rises in the morning and actually falls at night. So it should be this like curve. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you see me like it should be a curve. And you can get tested for that. And in this episode and in every episode under this new series, I'm going to give you so many plugs, by the way, of brands that I use, supplements that I use, discount codes, all of it, because I just want you to be so supported. And you can go onto my website, go in the show notes, click everything, and get it super easily for you. You can get your circadian rhythm tested in a way by looking at your cortisol, and the Dutch test does that really well. So it's a saliva test. You take it 4 times throughout the day, and it will measure your saliva, your cortisol in your saliva, and assess your actual cortisol curve if it is rising and lowering where it should. I've done this. It's very helpful, very easy at-home test. I'm pretty sure they ship worldwide, by the way, for everyone who's listening internationally. Then we want melatonin to rise at night. So melatonin is almost the opposite, right? Like it rises at night and it lowers in the morning. And when this is out of sync, you feel wired at 10 p.m. and dead at 10 a.m. And the circadian rhythm is actually very sensitive. So this happens more often than people think. The third thing that we want to talk about that's actually happening when we're saying, oh my gosh, I'm feeling tired, I have so much fatigue, I have low energy, is the HPA axis. Now, when this is dysregulated, there are multiple ways it can actually show up. But the HPA axis is a conversation between your brain and your adrenal glands, and this decides how much cortisol to release. Chronic stress resets this baseline so that your body keeps you in a low grade alert state all day, every day. And that is what ends up actually tiring you out, and then you burn out. People talk about adrenal fatigue. That's exactly what that is the brain and the adrenals are overworking and over communicating, and you're actually not feeling regulated. If we look at women specifically with this, there's a lot to say here because I think in general, women tend to have more balls in the air than men do. Women carry a lot. We carry our families, whether that's you taking care of your parents or you taking care of your kids. We are typically engaged in our communities around us in some way, whether that's volunteering or people on your street or events. There is our entire career and everything that is, friends, health, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's so much that we all carry that it makes sense that women tend to feel burnt out faster than men, especially when there is a lot of burden of the household management and children management that tends to fall on a woman's shoulders through the societal structures that we have created. Of course, there is some biological aspect to that with women being the ones giving birth, breastfeeding, and all the things like that. Estrogen regulates the enzyme that controls how your body makes NAD. Estrogen does. And so the cellular energy, and NAD is, the cellular energy currency, and we're going to talk about NAD in a bit. But as estrogen falls in perimenopause, NAD falls with it. And the other time that this also happens is during postpartum. So when you get pregnant, your estrogen dramatically rises, right? Like it's the highest of your entire life. You sustain it. The moment you give birth, right? Like it drops off. Prolactin increases, if you're breastfeeding, all those things. But part of the reason that women are in this postpartum brain fog, or they're exhausted and they have no energy, and I've been there. I have a toddler, so I was like there very recently, is this energy fall off, which then leads to the NAD decline with it. So we have this in perimenopause. We have this also in postpartum. The perimenopause one, I would say, is slower over time because estrogen drops over time. The postpartum one hits fast. It hits very fast. A lot of research was done on men in relation to this, unfortunately, and not as much females, of course. So, how to tell if your energy is actually off? Before we get into your her stack of the 4 pillars, I want you to listen to this and really take a beat and take a second and think, does this apply to me? And be honest with yourself, right? Like you're not doing any favors if you lie to yourself, like you're not. There's no reason to overcompensate or ignore the way that you feel anymore. It's time for you to put yourself first and your health first. So let's take a second and I'm going to ask some questions. And if you're driving, if you're walking your dog, I just want you to kind of think about these answers. You can even write them down. These are the signal questions. Okay. The first one, do you wake before your alarm naturally, even once a week, and feel rested? Do you wake up before your alarm naturally, even once a week, and feel rested? That's the key. The second question, can you hold a conversation and focus between 2 and 4 p.m. without caffeine, sugar, or food? Oof. That one is like, I dare you to try that. I dare you to try that. Stop your caffeine. We're going to talk about caffeine in a second, but stop your caffeine, let's say at 11 a.m., 10 a.m. You could even, have lunch at 12 and just wait and see, how does 2 to 4 p.m. feel for you without that caffeine, sugar, or food? Are you irritated? Are you angry? Are you tired? Are you annoyed? Are you wanting to go home from work? Yeah, that's a big one. Do you have warm hands and feet most of the time? This is related to your thyroid. Can you climb stairs or walk up an incline without your heart rate spiking out of proportion? This is a really, really easy test. Really easy. A lot of people, you live in houses. What happens when you walk up your stairs? Or you take your stairs when you go to work or out of your parking lot, whatever you're doing. How quickly does your heart rate go up? I remember when I was pregnant in my 3rd trimester and I was in the same house I'm in right now, and climbing the stairs to the 2nd floor. Wow. It was insane. how hard it was and how tired I was. And now, I'm coming up on 2 years postpartum here, and it's fine. Do you fall asleep within 20 minutes when you actually want to sleep? This is really important. Really important. And you can assess that through any type of sleep wearable. Aura is really great for this. I think Garmin might do this as well. I'm not sure, but Aura definitely does. And the last question, do you feel your mood is steady through the day and not collapsing in the late afternoon? So kind of related to what I said. Do you feel like, yeah, I'm showing up as my best. I'm giving 100% all day. So if you answered no to 3 or more of these, your energy is not just low, it's broken, but you can fix it. That is a good thing. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you are. You can fix it. The data points that are worth tracking, and I'm going to talk about labs in a second, but we're going to talk about data here as biohackers, right? Resting heart rate trend is really important. What is your resting heart rate? Do you have a healthy resting heart rate for your age and sex? My resting heart rate, I could look quickly on Aura. My resting heart rate is probably on average, probably 54, maybe 52, I would guess. Take a look at that trend and see how you compare. What is your HRV? Heart rate variability. The variation in time between heartbeats. Higher numbers typically means a calmer nervous system, and lower means stressed. So for me, HRV, I love looking at HRV, and I have looked at it for many years. I have had an Aura ring for 6 years, and I like my HRV over 100. I like it around, yeah, 100 to 120 is what I like. Is when I know, hey, I'm regulated, I'm feeling great, this is working. I've had my HRV be horrific and be in the 30s and in the 40s when I used to drink alcohol. It was terrible, absolutely terrible, which is part of the reason I moved away from drinking alcohol. And yeah, it shows how healthy is your heart. What is the variation in between heartbeats? And you want a higher HRV. Body temperature, cold hands and feet, a low waking temperature or temperature that drops in the second half of your cycle when it should rise, all suggest a struggling thyroid or mitochondria. And I've talked to my husband about this actually because he has had cold hands and feet, and thyroid issues run in his family. Your hands, like my hands right now, feel very warm. So do my feet. I could do a whole episode on thyroid. There's so much you can do in relation to thyroid, but really think about this. Sleep stages. A wearable will tell you whether you're getting enough deep sleep or REM. If both are short, you are not actually recovering even when you are technically sleeping. There are different ranges, optimal ranges for this. Again, I would get an Aura ring. I have one. This is the generation 3. I actually need to order the generation 4 because the battery sucks on 3, to be honest. I have to charge it like almost every day right now. So I do need a new Aura ring. Definitely, if you are struggling with energy and sleep, you need some sort of sleep tracker. Even if you use it for 6 months and you get your sleep back on track and you stop using it, great. You still, like, in my opinion, really need something to help track because that's the fastest way that you can get results. I do have a discount link for Aura. I will put it in the show notes. I think it gets you like 10% off if you want it. Okay. Second thing, so that's data. Second thing is labs. There are so many labs you can do. If you're in the States, there are amazing companies that you can actually do at-home testing, and it's so easy. It's like a prick of a finger for blood, and you're done. You can do Function Health or what's the other one? 100 Health. Those are the 2 best that I have seen. If you're in Canada, you can do Cyfox or this Felix Health as well, but I've never used Felix. I've used Cyfox before, and I do have a discount code with them. I think it's Brittany10, and I will link that for you. So non-negotiables to doing your labs, like which labs to get done. If you're just starting out, I would personally do an entire panel. Like I would get one of the at-home tests that looks at like 50 different biomarkers. And especially if you have not had labs ever done or in a very long time, because we really need to assess multiple things that could be going on here. If you feel like something's off with your energy, chances are it is, and there is so much you can do about it. So get your TSH tested. And I have all the ranges here, so I'll just quickly say these off. But again, you can re-listen to this episode so you hear the numbers. So TSH normal is 0.5 to 4.5. Optimal is 1.0 to 2.0. So I'm actually just going to say the optimal ranges because I think that is kind of the goal that we should be moving towards, not normal. So definitely make sure that you are actually trying to be in that optimal range. Free T3, optimal is 3.2 to 4.2. Free T4 is optimal is 1.1 to 1.5. Ferritin is optimal is 50 to 100. My ferritin is often low, so this is something I get tested a lot. And women are often low in ferritin. We have iron issues. We secrete blood every single month if you have your cycle, and we lose a lot of iron. So definitely get your ferritin looked at. Morning cortisol, if you do want to take a look at, doing the cortisol curve, optimal would be 10 to 18. CBC to rule out anemia. Fasting glucose and insulin, definitely so important. Estradiol depends what day of your cycle you get tested, but optimal is typically 40 to 60. And then vitamin D is optimal is 50 to 80. I will link way more information in this for the show notes so you guys can go get tested and get your labs looked at. Okay, now diving into the pillars and like what you can actually do if you are someone who's dealing with low energy. Okay, first of all, nutrition. The way that I designed this, by the way, is I think nutrition and lifestyle are the most important. And then biohacking is really cool to add in. It's fun. I added in fringe biohacks, like things that are like really out there and next level. And supplements also are really important and have their role. And then peptides is like the advanced layer on top. I can't just give you a whole podcast episode on peptides only because peptides only work as hard as you do. And you need to have very strong foundations in place in order to get the most out of your peptides. And we can't just take a peptide or even a supplement and expect it to override the way that we're living our lives every single day or the food that we are eating. So we have to have strong foundations before bringing in advanced tools. So that is why this is designed in this way. If you are nutrient depleted, you are sending instructions to a factory with no inventory if you're using peptides, right? So peptides are signal cells. And so we really need the nutrients to kind of bring everything together and help everything work correctly. When we're talking about fatigue, first of all, protein. How many people knew I was going to say that? My recommendations for protein is always 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight every single day. So if your ideal body weight is 120 pounds, that means that you are ideally eating 120 grams of protein per day. Most women are eating like half of that. Most people in North America in general are eating half of that. So it's really important to look at your protein goals and say, okay, am I hitting this goal? And one of the best ways you can do that is obviously tracking and starting to write things down and realizing, hey, I could be eating way more protein here. You want to front load your protein at breakfast, so 30 to 40 grams within an hour of waking. And this single change resolves afternoon crashes for a meaningful percentage of women. So the way that you can do this, and what I typically do, and I've given my protein tips before, but what I typically do is I add a scoop of protein powder to my coffee in the morning, like a large scoop. And I think it's 30 grams of protein is in it. So I'll have coffee, whatever nut milk I'm taking, and then a large scoop of vegan protein powder. I'm not vegan, but I struggle with lactose. So I kind of stay away from whey. And that is like the best thing I can do to kind of kickstart my day. I add protein to my yogurt with granola. I add protein to my coffee, like I just said. I will add protein to like a glass of water and literally just have protein and water because I don't really like smoothies, especially when it's colder out. I don't like how cold that feels in my body. I'm a very seasonal eater as well. So I just literally add it to water and it tastes good and it's fine. The brand that I'm using right now is called Vega Sport. It's in Canada, but there's so many good brands out there. I think one that people love is it called Sun Life? I think that one is really good. And there are literally so many good protein brands out there. Things you want to look for is like organic. If you are doing whey, grass-fed and grass-finished, is it tested for heavy metals? That type of thing. So, way more protein than you think. Like I want you to be like, wow, am I like a bodybuilder? I feel like I am becoming jacked because I'm eating so much protein. Like that's a level that I want you to be at. Make protein balls. I post my recipes on my Instagram page all the time. I make all sorts of protein balls and random things where I'm just like adding scoops of collagen and protein powder and like, just so my whole family is eating more protein. Front load your protein in breakfast. Get that 30 to 40 grams in. Seriously, it will make such a big difference. When we eat protein, it helps us feel fuller longer and gives us more energy so we're not crashing an hour or two later. If you only have carbohydrates, you are going to crash. And so what that looks like is toast with jam, cereal, or coffee with milk and nothing else. For all the girls out there who are not eating breakfast, that's energy is you have to start eating breakfast. You have to. In some form or another, you got to start eating breakfast, except if you are postmenopausal. And that brings me to the next point of stop fasting through your follicular and luteal transitions if your energy is primarily the issue. Honestly, I don't really recommend fasting to anyone unless you are postmenopausal or you have cancer or you're doing some sort of fast that's like once a quarter and it's like 72 hours and you are cycling. Fasting is very stressful on the body. It can be very hard on hormones, and your hormones are very delicate. When you are cycling and you have a menstrual cycle, you do not want to play with that. You don't want to fast too much and mess that up. It's important that we have a regular menstrual cycle. It's actually very important. It's its own biomarker in a sense. And fasting can be too much for women. When you're postmenopausal, it's a different story. You don't have to worry about fertility. You don't have to worry about ovulating. You don't have to worry about estrogen and progesterone and the delicate balance of LH and FSH. And fasting can be phenomenal for you. And you can do your daily fast, 16-8, fast for 16 hours, eat for 8 hours, whatever you like. And there's so much benefit. Oh my gosh, there's so much benefit at that point in life because fasting is actually really great for longevity, but it has a payoff if you do it when you're too young on your entire menstrual cycle and your hormonal cycle in general. So we know that now. We have more research. We understand more now. So please, and take it from my experience, I used to fast all the time about 5 years ago. It messed up my sleep. It messed up my menstrual cycle. And I had to teach myself how to have breakfast again and get out of it. Okay. That's like the non-negotiables for women if you have fatigue and you are tired all the time. The next one is hydration. This is very underrated. I can feel when I haven't had enough water, and like I can even feel it right now. I can feel it in my head. This is so important. Half of your body weight, in pounds equals your minimum ounces of water per day. So half of your body weight. So if you weigh 120 pounds, 60 ounces of water per day, which is actually really not that much. And then add 16 to 20 ounces per hour of training or if you go in the sauna. So I used to do, if you're new listening, I have done 75 hard 3 times and I have been successful 3 times at it. And I'm very much that type of person who can do something. I'm very black and white. Like I'm very cold turkey. If I'm doing 75 hard, I'm doing 75 hard. Like, you don't need to convince me otherwise. I can stick to something. I have no issues with that, especially when it comes to health. And in 75 Hard, you are drinking a gallon of water per day. A gallon. A gallon is 3.7 liters. 3.7. That's insane. How many ounces is that? I have no idea. Once I did that multiple times, I realized, okay, I should be drinking more water. Water gives you energy, makes you feel hydrated. When you are dehydrated, even 1 to 2% measurably tanks cognitive performance, perceived energy, and exercise tolerance. Even 1 to 2%, it actually shrinks your brain. People get headaches, migraines, all sorts of things. You need to drink more water. I sound like a mom, but I am a mom, and I'm still telling you this. You need to drink more water, please. Like, literally, the easiest swaps you can do is, if you were to look at my desk right now, you would see my coffee and you would see my large glass of water. Keep a large glass of water or a bottle of water at your desk. Keep one beside your bed. Keep one in your bathroom. I have them all over my house, constantly filling them and drinking them. When you work out, my rule of thumb, and even with my clients, is you should be drinking another bottle of water per hour of working out. I kind of don't worry about 16 versus 20 ounces because typically people have larger water bottles. So I just say 1 extra water bottle every time you work out on top of your daily amount. So that's a lot. That is a lot. I add salt to my water. I don't know if I have any here with me. No, I don't. I use the Baja Gold salt. Salt. This is my electrolytes, and I love this company. Such a clean product. Literally, it's only salt. It does not taste sweet like Element. It does not raise your blood sugar. It does not have any crap in it. It is from, I forgot the name of the ocean or the sea that they get it from. I think it's off of Mexico, but it's great. And also the price point is really, really great. So Baja Gold Salt, I use this. My kid uses it, and I use the squirt. I actually use the table salt as well, like in cooking and in food. I use it everywhere. We use it in our baths as our bath salt. It's the only salt I have in this house. I have a discount code biohacking Brittany. You should definitely order some immediately. It is like the cheapest upgrade you can do to your entire house right now is like buy better salt. And it's sea salt. Just a note on sea salt is it is more mineral rich than any of the other salts out there. And I've done podcast episodes with Baja Gold Salt. They've come on, they've explained why. So every time you're drinking that salt or putting it in your food, you're getting more magnesium, manganese, zinc, whatever else. It's not just sodium with like a little bit here and there. It's actually much more nutrient dense, and that's what we want. This is great for adrenals, salt for sure, and coffee can, I love coffee, I really do, but it definitely taxes your adrenals. So drinking a glass of mineral salt water in the morning can fix this. Minerals matter more than volume. You can drink a gallon of plain water and still be cellular dehydrated if you are minerally depleted. So in my house, we have a reverse osmosis water filtration system, which is amazing. However, it strips all of the minerals out of your water, all of it, right? So yes, it's great for filtering water, but you actually have to remineralize your water afterwards. And that is why I add the salt in. When I was traveling, different story. You buy your water. When we were in Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Mexico, you buy your water. And I tried to buy mineral water when I was there instead of just like plain water. And that's how a lot of the world lives. And that's okay. Just be aware that there's like a difference between mineral water and just water that's like one of the cheap companies out there. There was actually a 2025 paper in Chronobiology International that confirmed that we have suspected this for years. Even mild reductions in hydration and even light shift cortisol and melatonin enough to disrupt sleep and energy independently. So there is a lot of research behind this. Mitochondrial nutrition specifically Magnesium is really important here. Magnesium glycinate or threonate, 300 to 400 milligrams before bed. I use Bioptimizers for that, and it's my favorite magnesium on the market. B complex with active folate, so methylfolate, not folic acid, and methylated B12, really important. I took a lot of really great prenatals actually that had really great methylated B vitamins in them. CoQ10 or ubiquinol, 100 to 200 milligrams with breakfast, especially if you're over the age of 35. Creatine, 5 grams daily. I'm going to get more into supplements here in a second. And of course, whole food sources, right? I guess we talked very specifically about protein and hydration, but at the end of the day, when we need to be eating as much whole food as possible, not processed food, not food that says keto on it and it's like a chocolate bar that says keto, actually food that you make at home. The more food that you make at home, arguably the healthier you're going to be. Because even if you're making something that's like got all the like even pasta with all the things added to it, or, you know, I guess there are very unhealthy things that you can make at home. You're still avoiding a lot of like the deep frying, the oils, the food that's been sitting out a long time at restaurants or when you're doing takeout. Or or when you buy takeout and it comes hot and it's literally in a plastic takeout container. And so you're actually just eating the plastics that have soaked into that food, those microplastics on top of the oils and everything that is in that food, if it's like, Korean or Chinese or whatever type of food it might be, or even like soup, right? Like it's just pulling in those plastics from the plastic container. A 2025 randomized trial on the Journal of the American Nutrition Association looked specifically at perimenopause and menopausal women and found that even low doses of creatine improved reaction time, reduced mood swings severity, and raised brain creatine levels in just 8 weeks. So we have been telling women to take creatine for years, and now we actually are finally starting to have some female research behind it. What to cut, honestly? Caffeine after noon, like have your timer, just cut it off. This is a non-negotiable. It's destroying that deep sleep. Yeah, and this is such an easy fix. Alcohol, I've done full episodes on alcohol. Alcohol is poison. I don't even know what to say. Less and less people are drinking. Every generation drinks less than the one before them, and that's great. And it is something that really wrecks your hormones, wrecks your liver, wrecks your heart health, wrecks your energy. I mean, I think we've all been hungover, right? So we all know how shitty it feels when you drink and overdrink. Even one drink fragments REM sleep and tanks next day mitochondrial output. I have been sober for almost, I think 1,000 days is coming up, which I'm really proud of. And I have no plans of drinking alcohol anytime soon. I don't see how it would fit into my lifestyle or be like complement my values. Sugar driven snacking, this is huge. This is probably the one that's like people kind of turn a blind eye to the most and don't realize that they're doing. So every blood sugar crash is a cortisol spike you're paying for at 3 p.m. So if you're snacking at 5, even though dinner's at 6, you're grabbing your chips or you're grabbing even your yogurt and berries or your apple and peanut butter, whatever it might be, like that snacking is a real telltale sign that your energy isn't where it should be because you're trying to grasp energy out of your food and you can't make it until your next mealtime. Okay, moving on. Speaking of hydration, I'm going to drink some water. We are going to talk about lifestyle and biohacking. See, I just drank water. I feel so much better already. Okay, so lifestyle and biohacking. There's so much to say here. We're going to dive into lifestyle first and then biohacking. And then I'm going to talk about advanced biohacks and like very fringe things that you can do. So, we've talked about mitochondria and we're talking about the circadian rhythm. And there is a lot you can do for your circadian rhythm when it comes to lifestyle. This is arguably like the highest leverage point and intervention for these two. So Morning sunlight within 30 minutes of waking, 10 minutes minimum, no glasses. This sets your cortisol curve for the entire day. Get outside, open your front door, look outside, open your window, whatever the heck, wherever you are. If it's not sunny, still do it. It doesn't matter. Even through clouds, like I'm looking at a very cloudy day out at my window right now. Even through the clouds, there's still light that is coming through that will make you feel awake and alert and ready to go. What I do is I get up with my toddler, but I get up and I open all the windows, all outside, go downstairs. The whole house is bright. Like I'm ready to go. Open the front door, breathe in the fresh air, everything like that. When it's warm outside or when we are in tropical locations, I will typically open the doors to outside. We'll have breakfast outside, like we'll eat on our patio or there's a lot of outdoor living when we're in places like Nicaragua. So we'll eat outside and we'll have breakfast and coffee and just do that right outside, which feels amazing. You could go for a morning walk, take your dog, anything like that. Blue blocking glasses and blocking light after 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is a general rule. I think like at least 1 hour before you go to sleep. I've done podcast episodes on this. I go to sleep early. I don't know if it's early. Maybe it's pretty average for a parent now, but like I'm reading a lot right now. So that kind of pushes my bedtime a bit. But I'm typically asleep by between 9:30 and 10:30. Like I go up to our room like 8:45, 9. I'm just like, I'm done. I don't need to sit and watch a Netflix show at the end of the day. I'd rather read my book and chill and not be exposed to like the bright TV in my face. Blue blockers are amazing for this. The brand that I like is called Filter Optics. I will link it in the show notes. This is easily the best glasses I've ever used. I don't have any with me, but they're beautiful. They are actually like pretty luxury. They are high end and they are very effective in what they do. So I use them all the time. I have the daytime ones, I have the nighttime ones. They're really worth it. They're not like the cheap $20 blue blocking glasses you can get off of Amazon. These are like you buy one pair and you're good for life type of glasses. They're super, super nice. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I like nice things, you should buy some because they're really nice. They're the nicest brand I've ever seen for blue blocking glasses. And they're in Europe. I forget which country in Europe, but they're very like, you can see that there's a designer behind them and things like that. Sleep in true darkness. So if you were to come into my room at night, you would not see, actually. It is pitch black. Yes, it is very dark. We have blue blocking curtains, blinds. What else? I use a sleep eye mask. I have no light at all, anywhere. We have little red ambient night lights if we do need something. So there's one in my kids in Callahan's room. There's one in our bathroom, but I don't really turn them on, but I do have them if we do need something. The lights beside our beds, like our nightstands, they change color and they can go red. And so we only ever have them on red as well. So our house, like low-key, looks like a brothel at night if you were to drive by because it's just red lights. Like there's no light. I refuse to have any light on. I don't even put our outside porch lights on because I don't care. I don't care to let people know that somebody's home. Like they can look and see red through the windows. There's no white light. There's no yellow light. Nothing. That's not how I do it. Consistent wake up times is really important. I typically wake up between 6 and 7, around there. You really want to make that like regular routine, go to bed, wake up at a consistent time. There was a study in October 2025, which it was a review that pulled together the data showing that bright morning light produces a measurably stronger cortisol awakening response. This is the natural cortisol surge that gives you energy in the first hour of your day. Low waking cortisol is one of the most consistent findings in chronically fatigued women, and morning sunlight is the single cheapest fix that we have. Then we can talk about grounding. Grounding is a very, very easy biohack. It's free. It's also called earthing. This is just getting in direct contact with the earth, bare feet on the grass, sand, soil. The mechanism is actually electron transfer. So your body picks up free electrons from the Earth's surface, and these electrons act as natural antioxidants. As little as 30 to 40 minutes of direct ground contact has been shown to lower cortisol, raise HRV, and reduce inflammatory markers. You can do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, basically just get your feet on the earth. And the next is movement. So, movement is so important for energy. Like, it sounds it could sound counterintuitive because you're like, I don't have the energy to move. So, like, how would that make me feel energized? But it's actually exactly like that. Like, the more you move, the more energy you feel you have, and the more energy you feel you have to move more. Like, it's a positive feedback loop. Zone 2 cardio specifically, this means basically working at an intensity where you hold a conversation, but you can't sing. The heart rate is roughly 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate, like walking briskly uphill, easy cycling, slow jogging. And this is the zone that your mitochondria do the most adaptation. So, zone 2 cardio 3 times a week is the single most studied intervention for mitochondrial biogenesis, which is basically the making of new mitochondria. Strength training 2 to 3 times a week, non negotiable for women. I have talked about this till I have been blue in the face. Heavy lifting. Heavy lifting. Don't look at me and raise that 5-pound weight. I don't want to see it. 10 pounds, 15, 20, 25, 30. Seriously, heavy, heavy. By the time you're doing your 6th rep, you should be tired. Like, it should be hard to lift up that weight. It should be really hard. Like, you should be shaking. Heavy lifting. So important for women's longevity. Oh my gosh, I can't even say it enough. I think I say it in every masterclass that I do. Please lift heavier than you ever thought you could, because this is what will keep you strong and keep your bones strong decades to come. Decades to come. You want to stop overtraining, so stop with a hit in your luteal phase. The cortisol is already elevated, so you have to just be careful here. Walking after meals is great, anything like that. So, making daily movement and exercise part of your life. Then we have temperature. I think this is something, I think it's very popular now. Like, people love saunas, people love hot therapy, cold therapy. I have a sauna. It is a traditional sauna, and it was honestly one of the best investments I've ever done, especially as a new parent when you can't leave the house. But when your kid is sleeping, oh, just to be like, I'm going in the sauna for 30 minutes. Amazing. So sauna 3 to 4 times a week, at least 20 minutes, 170 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. I go in at like 194. So take it as you will, but I like it hot. So, mitochondrial biogenesis, heat shock proteins, growth hormone pulse, so many good things happening here. Saunas are incredible for longevity. Incredible. If you have an extra 20 grand to spend on your house, build yourself a sauna. We built one, and it's you could probably fit 6 people in ours because we knew it was an investment, and we knew, like, we're going to use this. And we do. We do. We decided, do we get a hot tub or do we get a sauna? And as a biohacker, it was like, yeah, we got to get the sauna. I'm going to feel so much better. We're going to be healthier. And what am I going to sit in a pool of chemicals and try to relax? Like, yeah, that does feel great sometimes. And you can get more natural hot tubs now and things that you can add. And that's great. But man, sweating in a sauna afterwards, your skin, everything, prime. I will say though, this is such like a first world problem. M- because I sauna so often, like 3 to 4 times a week, my metabolism and the way that I process everything is very quick. And so if I do anything to my face or to my body, it is like processed way faster. For example, when I was getting Botox, I don't get it anymore. Well, at least not right now. I'm taking a break, or I don't know if I'm going to go back and whatnot. I would metabolize my Botox so fast. Like we're talking 8 to 9 weeks. Some people, Botox lasts 3 to 4 months. But for me, someone who, does a lot of sauna, exercise, all of these different things, like it just metabolized very quickly. And that's not the only thing that's done that. Like even if I do, like I've had my eyebrows microbladed and I metabolize that really quickly, like it fades faster. Or if I use any type of numbing cream, like when they're doing my eyebrows or I'm doing a facial or whatever it might be, like I go through way more numbing cream than the average person because I don't know, I guess it's not even that I don't know, like, I just metabolize chemicals very fast, and so that's just something I know about myself now, and every single facial expert, esthetician, person I've talked to about it, they're like, "Yeah, it's because you literally sauna all the time and you exercise a lot," and so that's pros and cons. Pros and cons. I'm not gonna stop, you know, living such a healthy lifestyle so that my Botox lasts longer, like, that's insane. So, just if that's happening to you as well, know that you are not the only person. Cold exposure as well here. Again, keep it short, controlled. We don't want to overdo it for women. Women are often overdoing it and overstressing their bodies. So just be mindful. Don't do it during your period. Skip in the late luteal phase if it makes your sleep worse. My cold exposure is like on and off. I do it when I feel good. I do it in the summer. It's not something that I pull on very often as a lever to feel better. If you can't afford your own sauna, which is totally understandable, you could do something like the higher dose sauna blanket. I have one. It's great. You lie in it. You could just like watch TV while you're in the sauna blanket. I used to do that before we had the sauna. I also have their PEMF mat. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm actually sitting on it. You can see it right here. And this is what I sit on while I work all day. I don't know if I overuse it, but I use it a lot. So it heats your body and it also, you can put on the different PEMF settings. And I use this a lot, a lot. It's great. It makes me feel really good. So that is temperature. And, when we talk about stress as well, and stress will be its own goal that I will unpack. But there are things I think a lot of people know in terms of foundations like daily breath work, phone free the first hour and last hour of your day, meaningful relational connection. So we know this now. The people who live the longest are people who are plugged into some sort of community or have very healthy marriages or relationships with their kids, whatever it might be. So we can't ignore the societal factor when we're talking about longevity in this way, even if we're just talking about energy for right now. So higher dose, I do have a discount code and a link. I'll link that. And Pulsetto, I'll also link that has vagus nerve stimulation in your nervous system. And this is really great. I used to have it in my office. It's a device that you use. It sits like right here on your neck and it helps to regulate your vagus nerve and it vibrates. It feels really good, actually. Okay. I'm going to skip to the cutting edge and fringe biohacks because I think like so many people want to hear this. So this is an advanced layer. Please, if you're listening to this and like you're not doing any of the things that I'm talking about and you just hop to one of these, like, no, please no. Like you have to have your foundations in place. Same with peptides, right? These are an advanced layer on top of nutrition, light, sleep, supplements, everything like that. So first of all, we have methylene blue. I have never done methylene blue. I have it sitting in my fridge. I have not done it. But a lot of people love methylene blue. So this is a low dose pharmaceutical grade one that you can get. It is a mitochondrial electron donor, and it has been studied for cognitive function and energy in adults with subclinical mitochondrial dysfunction. I don't have a brand I could even recommend to you because it's not something that I currently dabble in right now. I just have some in my fridge because there was some at a conference that I was at, and I literally have never used it. But a lot of people love it. Then we have hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So this increases tissue oxygenation, drives mitochondrial biogenesis, and supports stem cell mobilization. Sessions tend to run in packages of 20 to 40. I have done this. Personally, I didn't love it. And I think there's a lot better things that you can do with your time, but some people do like it. Red light therapy, I do like red light therapy. Specific wavelengths penetrate tissue and stimulate the mitochondrial enzyme, cytochrome C oxidase. And this increases ATP production and it is super valuable here. 10 to 20 minutes. I have so many red light therapy devices in my house. It's crazy. For your face, I like higher dose face mask. I like their hat as well. I also have their really long mat. It's huge. And I do my daily stretches on it in my gym downstairs. So Brittany 10 gets you a discount. Use it. I use my link. I also like the Kineon device, which is up on my shelf in my office. This is great. It also has lasers, so it actually goes much deeper than just red light therapy. I use this on my C-section. I use this on any injuries that I have, any pain. It's phenomenal. Daily use, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night. It's great. It straps anywhere you want to put it. And it basically targets all the tissue and targets the mitochondria in those tissues as well. So if you're dealing with like a sore shoulder or a knee, or you're trying to heal some sort of C-section scar like mine, could not talk enough about Kineon. I use this, like I said, I have a discount code and a link, and I will send that and put that in the show notes. Next up would be ketamine assisted therapy. Ketamine isn't something I have not done, but if I had the opportunity, I would try it. People even microdose with ketamine. And for women whose fatigue has a strong nervous system or trauma component, this could be something that you look at. However, you need to work with a professional here. There's ketamine clinics now. It depends on the country you're in. There's different regulations around them. Like, really, really do your research, depending on where you are. Do your research on the practitioner and the clinic and know what you're getting yourself into. But yes, people have had a lot of success with ketamine for healing past trauma. And then, even more fringe, I mean, these are pretty fringe. Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, PEMF, I already talked about. Quantum frequency devices and structured water. There's early evidence of these, but you could use Leela Quantum Tech for frequency support. This is my favorite company for this. I have their devices all over my house. I even have one in my car. There's a lot of research about frequency, but it's the application that's the issue here. So look into that if you are interested in the quantum world and how we all connect. EMF mitigation is huge. I am somebody who has been I have been advocating for low EMF for a very long time. And so many people, whenever I post about it on social media, think I'm crazy. And that's okay. I don't care. So what we do for EMF is what do we do? We kill the Wi-Fi at night. Very easy. Literally just unplug the Wi-Fi. I distance myself from electronics. I actually have it with me. I just took it off because I was getting hot. I have an EMF blocking blanket that sits on my lap every single day that I work. Every single day. That's from a company called Defender Shield. I will link to it in the show notes with my discount code. I think it's biohacking Brittany. But I use this every single day. My husband uses this. Like, when I see him sitting on the couch with his laptop on his lap, I low-key lose my mind. I just give him this blanket so that at least there's a barrier there. They have underwear that's also great, female and male underwear. And then, of course, I have the Juniday clothing for women, which blocks EMF as well. And I used a ton of this when I was pregnant because they have designs that are actually made for pregnancy and protecting your baby when your baby's in your womb. So really, really important. Please look at that if you are on any type of fertility journey right now. Okay. Supplements. We kind of already alluded to some of these. Again, you're not going to take all of these. Like, I'm not expecting you to walk away from this episode and spend, $5,000. That's not the goal here. The goal is to just point out holes potentially in your own stack and your own protocol that you could improve through some of these measures and points that I'm giving you. So we talked about creatine, so 5 grams daily, anytime. This is the most researched for and most validated for energy and cognition in women. Magnesium, I talked about. We talked about CoQ10 already, methylated B. We actually talked about a bunch of these. And then iron, you have to be careful with iron. Depends on the type of iron you take and how much you're taking. When we talk about mitochondria specifically, there are mitochondria targeted supplements that people love to take. So we want to focus on making new mitochondria. And this is through mitophagy. And mitophagy means basically clearing out the old ones. So there's space for the new ones. And we can do this through specific supplements, yes. And there is actually quite a lot of research. So the first one would be urolithin A, 500 milligrams daily. The most studied mitophagy activator we have is urolithin A. There are multiple trials that have been now shown it increases muscle strength gains and ATP in performance in adults over 40. The best company for this, hands down, is Timeline Nutrition. They're my peer company. Use my discount code biohacking Brittany. Not necessarily a cheap supplement. So you definitely want to use my discount for this. But I do feel a difference. They have powders. They have, my gosh, I think they even have bars now. They have capsules. They have a bunch of different ones. The next is PQQ, 20 milligrams daily. This specifically supports mitochondrial biogenesis. Acetyl A-L-carnitine, 1 to 2 grams daily fasted. Alpha lipoic acid, and then NAD precursors. I need to have some water. So, NAD precursors, oh my gosh, NAD is like just such a massive topic and everyone has different opinions. But NMN is the most well-known precursor, or even NR. And you're looking at about 500 milligrams daily here. Useful as an oral entry point before injectable NAD. And I definitely have taken this many times in my life. So the NAD that I use, the first one I like is Novos. I always tend to say their name wrong. I don't know if it's the Canadian accent, but like Novos. They have a powder that has like a bunch of different things in it, but they also have a specific NMN supplement as a precursor to NAD, and I take this and I love it. I also really like Nuchido Time Plus. This is a phenomenal company. The founder has been on my podcast multiple times. She's amazing. And basically, they kind of went more upstream, looking at how do we look at the different mechanisms of why NAD is breaking down and how do we give you everything that you need so that doesn't happen. So I take both, to be honest. Like I do Novos and I do Nuchido Time. And this is really great for cellular energy. Like I do feel a difference on both of these. So if you're like, hey, I want to add in some supplements to help with energy, I would do this. Like you could even do Timeline as well, but honestly, I feel the most difference with Nuchido Time and Novos, and I will link my discount codes. You can always try biohacking Brittany in capitals because typically that's what works. But if not, just go to my show notes or my website or message me on Instagram and I can give it to you as well. Bioptimizers, like I talked about, magnesium is great. Digestive enzymes, those are also great. And then you could do nootropics as well. Nootropics have kind of like fallen off the cliff a little bit, which is very interesting because they used to be such a hot topic a few years ago. Okay, those are a lot of supplements. I don't want to overwhelm you with like 5 million things to take. Now we are going to dive into peptides. Oh my goodness. Whew. Okay, so say you are listening to this and you're like, okay, Brittany, everything that you've said for the last hour, I'm literally doing. Please give me something new. Welcome. Let's talk about peptides. Peptides are an advanced tool. They are not for somebody who's not already healthy. They are for people who understand biohacking, people who lead a healthy lifestyle every single day. They are not a quick fix. This is where your foundations pay off because when you actually add in peptides, if you're super healthy, you get so much out of them and you feel great. And that's what I do. And I've taken quite a few of these. So I kind of broke this down into the foundation stack and then the advanced stack. So first of all, foundation, we want to start with BPC 157. This is because it reduces inflammation, it improves gut health, and when we're talking about energy, both of those things can really be the root cause of why you might have low energy. So, really important here. I take this, you take it twice daily in the morning and the evening. You can start at about 250 micrograms. If you are in my community, the LongHer Life, you will see dosages available and like full protocols available in our goals section. So you can take a look at that. And you can always join my community. If you're not in there, it will be linked and you get access to all my peptide suppliers, my biweekly calls. I review people's protocols and what else? Private podcasts, discounts, my peptide planner, which is free in the community, all these different things. Then we have epitalon. So epitalon is very interesting. I have not done this peptide yet. I have it sitting in my fridge right now. I will be doing it probably next week because now I just finished MOTS-C, so it's probably a good time to do it. So 5 to 10 milligrams before bed. You do it for 10 days, twice a year, once or twice a year. Yeah, pretty crazy, eh? You don't do it very often. This actually helps to restore the melatonin rhythm. So if you're struggling with sleep, epitalon is phenomenal for that, but it's also really great for longevity and for energy in that way. And then the other, like, kind of more basic foundation one would be C-Lank. C-Lank, you can do about 250 micrograms in the morning. I love C-Lank. Oh my God, I feel so much better on it. This helps with anxiety. Like, if you are anxious as a parent, as a mom, as a business owner or worker, whatever you're doing, man, does this help so much. So this helps to modulate the HPA axis that we were talking about earlier without sedation. It's probably the most underused peptide in women's fatigue protocols. So you're going to kind of want to, depends if you're taking other peptides, but let's just say you're taking these 3, run them for 3 to 4 weeks before considering anything else to see how you feel. So add C-Lank in week 2 if anxiety or chronic stress is significant. If your fatigue has a strong mitochondrial character, which is basically like crashing after eating, poor exercise tolerance, cold hands and feet, you can add some of these next ones a little earlier. So this is the advanced stack. Now, I don't want you to do all of these. That's not the point. You could choose 1 or 2, start there, and see how you feel. I should have said this before, but with peptides, you need to track what you're doing. They are not a one size fits all. They are not something you take your entire life. Different peptides have different amounts that you take. Different peptides have different cycle lengths. So some, you could take for 6 weeks, some are 8 weeks, and then you come off. You need to be able to look at this and be like, okay, what the heck is going on? What was I on last month? Like, it can't just be on a note in your phone or a piece of paper. You need to track it. Use my peptide planner. Literally, it's the easiest thing for you to use. It's a digital peptide planner. I will link to it. Go buy it. It's literally $16. Download it. And it's for 3 months. It's got 90 days and it's got everything in it. I don't even have it in front of me. I am making a physical copy right now because the demand has been insane for that planner. So I'm ordering the first sample. It should be shipped this week. And hopefully, oh my gosh, hopefully I can have it live by the end of May so that you can buy physical copy. And it's going to kind of look like this if you're watching on video. If you're not, I'm holding up the 5-minute journal right now. This is like a gratitude journal. It's going to kind of be the size of this, and it'll be very similar of like, it's every day is a page, and you'll write down what peptides you took, how much you took, where you injected, what your symptoms are, what day of your cycle you're in, how much protein, water, sleep, everything that you've had that day. And then you can look back and be like, oh my God, okay, in February, what did I take? Wow, I took this, and this is how much I did, and this is how much I reconstituted it, all in one handy little book. But in the meantime, download the digital one. So these advanced layers, please don't do all of these. Do whichever feels the best to you. MOTS-C. So The typical dosing here, 5 to 10 milligrams, 2 to 3 times a week. I mean, even 10 milligrams at once is a lot. In the morning, this is a mitochondrial derived peptide. So we talked about mitochondria. This is phenomenal for your mitochondria. I have just come off of I should know, it's in my planner, a 12-week cycle I think I did of MOTS, and now I'm going to be taking a break. Phenomenal. I noticed such a difference in my energy. Holy smokes, so did my husband. Like, such a difference. Felt better, even to the point where I was like, "Oh, I actually don't need as much coffee in the morning anymore." Like, I wake up and I'm like, "Oh, I'm good." Like, I don't have that craving for, like, "Give me the coffee. I can't function without it today." Like, it made me feel so much better. One thing to know with MOTS is, like, people can tend to have a reaction on their skin. This happened to me. This is histamine. You can take an antihistamine to avoid it. I didn't. I just ignored it because I don't care. And I rotated injection sites. I did it on my thighs and then I did it on my belly. And that's kind of how I went about it. There's different techniques. And, I'm actually doing a reconstitution and injecting guide call at the end of May with my community if you want to join for that. And we're going to go over how to do all of this. You can do NAD. So NAD, we've talked a lot about, but you could actually inject it like the actual NAD molecule. 250 to 500 milligrams in the morning, sub-Q or oral. So there are oral ones you can do now. People also do the IV, but an IV can have side effects. So I think the injection is better. I have not, I have a nasal one actually. I have not tried this yet. I was waiting to come off of MOTS before I do the NAD that I have. This, again, phenomenal for energy, and it's probably the most underrated addition I've made to my own stack, specifically for women who are older than 40 or postpartum, and you need that energy because estrogen really does regulate that NAD synthesis, and we've talked about that. 5-amino 1-MQ, 50 to 100 milligrams in the morning. You can take this oral. This is an NNMT inhibitor. You can do oral capsules, no injections, the most accessible advanced edition. I have not done this yet, but people do like it. This cortigen is a bioregulator, not a peptide. 5 to 10 milligrams before bed, and you can do a 10-day course. And this is Cavinson, don't know if I'm saying that correctly, bioregulator for the pineal gland and nervous system. You can run it alongside or instead of Epitalon in severe clinical disruption. We have TB500. A lot of people know TB500. You can do 2 milligrams, 2.5 milligrams twice weekly. I'm doing this now. This is amazing for inflammation and injury. So I do it, I'm healing C-sections and my C-section, and I still want it to be kind of better than what it is. So that's my reason for taking it. And then the last peptide you could do is SS31. So this one is about 1 to 2 milligrams daily, and it's very targeted mitochondrial peptide on the market. Not a lot of people talk about this, but it is emerging compounding availability potentially that's coming out through here. So women dose lower than men. BBC 157 and C-Lank are dosed lower than the male protocols because of our CNS sensitivity and absorption differences in women. And that is so important. And part of why I'm doing this Her Stack series is just to focus on women's health and women's longevity in general. Is like, we can't just do what men do because we are so biologically different. So you do have to make sure that you are assessing what stage of womanhood you're in before you suddenly start taking a peptide based off of a random protocol that you saw online. So, and by womanhood, I mean, like, are you cycling, fertility, postpartum, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause? It's all going to impact how much you're taking for specific peptides. NAD is the exception because the dosing is kind of the same, but it's still like you could almost take more, remember, because of the estrogen relation there. So you could take more during postpartum and perimenopause as well. Perimenopause, Epitalon and NAD are the highest value additions. Cortigen is worth running twice yearly. If you're postpartum, MOTS-C is ideal because there's no IGF baseline here, and it is gentle on a recovering system. So it's also, I didn't say this, but MOTS-C is also great for metabolism and even weight loss. And I have noticed reduction as well in just like belly fat around my C-section, which has been really great to see without having to take something that's related to growth hormone or any of the GLP-1s or GLP-3s and things like that. Breastfeeding, oral and topical peptides only. I basically have to say that online publicly. If you are in my community, which is gated, I have recommendations if you're breastfeeding for peptides. But again, the decision is yours. It's not mine. It's your body. And everything I say is for research purposes only and is not medical device. I have to say that. Peptide protocols in general should be developed in partnership with someone qualified to monitor your labs and adjust dosing. So I do this with my clients and I dive into sourcing, reconstitution, and personalization with them. So, how to actually start? I feel like we talked about so much on this episode and there's so much you can do. So, here's kind of like the frame that I would do for 12 weeks roughly. So, before anything, you want to be running your labs. Please do not skip this. Take a look at where you're at hormonally, minerals, vitamins, cholesterol, inflammation, insulin, glucose, all of that. Week 1 to 2, lock in that protein. Lock in the protein floor. Lock in the mornings with high protein. I want you to change the way that you eat. Seriously. Bring in the hydration with the minerals, the morning sunlight, consistent wake up time. Add the foundational supplements if you don't have them. Things like the magnesium, the methylated B vitamins. Weeks 3 to 4, add in the layer of, you could start your peptides. So BPC 157 is my favorite peptide to start people on in the morning, fasted or not fasted. Like, honestly, I just take it in the morning. I don't worry about food with it. And then you could also start your Apital here as well for your 10 days if that is something that you are ready to do. Add the grounding in here as well. That's weeks 3 to 4. Week 5, add the C-Lank. So if you're somebody who's dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety, this is when I would add it in. I would start with BPC and then I would add in C-Lank the next week. Week 6, assess how you're feeling. How are the lifestyle changes going? How's the protein going? How's the hydration? Are you actually noticing a difference? You should be noticing a difference if you're on C-Lank right away within 1 to 2 weeks, in my experience. BPC can take a bit longer depending on your gut and depending on your inflammation levels. You can add in one advanced peptide here if you wanted to. So you could do like MOTS-C or you could do NAD based on what the fatigue actually looks like for you. And consider adding, you could add in one more advanced biohack here, red light therapy, that type of thing. So, and then you kind of like build on that, right? So I guess the point is here, start with the foundations, add in the peptides slowly, the foundational peptides that I talked about. Later on, you can bring in more advanced peptides and bring in more advanced biohacks. Everything builds on itself. What to expect week by week is week 1 to 2, your sleep should improve if you're having sleep issues, especially if you add on Apital, especially if you're bringing in the dark room, the blue blocking glasses, the grounding, the sunlight regulation. Weeks 3 to 4, afternoon crashes start to soften. So you should be lasting in the afternoon better. You should be feeling better on C-Lank if you're on it. Weeks 6 to 8 or 5 to 8 is sustained waking energy without the stimulant dependency. So this is really where the sugar and the caffeine requirements that you're feeling should have dissipated somewhat. Like you should somewhat feel like, yeah, I have more energy back in my life. Like I can do this. And then weeks 10 to 12, women who added MOTS-C or NAD, you should be seeing an improvement now by these more advanced peptides that you have added in. So energy is not a willpower problem, like it is a biological problem. It's a lifestyle problem. And the biology here, the solution has 4 pillars. You do not need all of them to start, but you do need to know that they exist and you do need to slowly be building them up and making them more solid and stronger. The woman who only changes one is the woman who concludes that like nothing works, right? Like, so that's the woman who's like, oh, I bought this supplement and I don't feel a difference. But it's like, okay, you're eating junk food at 3 p.m., or you're not sleeping properly, or you're not exercising, or you're not getting sunlight. Like, we really do have to do a full holistic assessment here. And we start with the easy, free lifestyle changes, and then we add and we build and we build. So everything will be linked in the show notes, guys. Like, I know I mentioned so many things, all the discounts, all the products, whatever you want to get, go for it. My planner, this is the digital tracking journal built for women. I wish I had this when I started. It's on peptides, 90 days, dose, symptoms, cycle phase, lab tracking. Physical version is coming. And this is in my show notes. My next masterclass on peptides and women's health will be sometime in May. I haven't decided yet, but the wait list is open. And I think, I don't know, I think there might be 300 people on there already. It's pretty crazy. So if you want to go deeper on protocols, that is how you can do it. You can join my LongHer Life community at any time. I will also link that. We have the live biweekly calls. This is where all the women kind of gather in my community. And then I do one-on-one work. I don't have a lot of openings for it. It's very rare. And it's something that's very, very high touch. So this is for 95% of people who reach out to me are not necessarily the right fit for the one-on-one work. So if that is something that you're serious about, and you're like, hey, I really need Brittany in my corner to turn my health around, you could be part of the 5% that I'm perfect for you. And so reach out to me and we can chat over Instagram or send me an email at info@biohackingbrittany.com and I can help you. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for joining me on my new series, Her Stack. I wish I had this. Oh my gosh, I wish I had this like 6 months ago. I would have changed things faster. I hope you got so much insight out of this. Please subscribe, follow, leave a review, and I will bring you our next episode in this series next Thursday. They're going to be dropping every Thursday now. And I don't know what I'm going to cover. I have a few ideas, but I can tell you that we are going to do a lot. So we will be doing body composition and fat loss, bone health and joints. I'm going to do endometriosis, fertility, PCOS, libido, longevity, skin, hair, nails, sleep, like so many different ones. So stay tuned for that. And I cannot wait to have you join me and hear another episode together. Okay, bye for now.